Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our weekly sermonette. Um, you know, this past week, everybody is really in shock and in pain over what's going on across the United States and the world over. Um, the racism, the protests, the riots, the violence, the looting. And we ask ourselves, is this America? Well, I'd like to take you to a different time and a different place. It was in 1980 in Melbourne, Australia. There was a successful businessman by the name of Mr. Michael Goldhirsch, together with an attorney. They bought a small two-lot piece of property downtown for an investment. They held on to it for a few years. And then in 1986, they were approached by a Japanese family who wanted to buy their lot because they wanted to build a big building and a store and so on. And they made them an offer that they couldn't refuse, and they sold the two lots that they had there, and they made a tidy sum of money. And they decided, this Michael Golders decided that, he was close to Chabad, he was close to the Rebbe, he's growing in his Judaism, and he decided he wanted to do something special, something good with the money that he made, and he decided actually that he traveled to New York. He figured he was gonna donate the money for a very good cause, and he met with one of the Rebbe's secretaries, and he left them a check for a huge sum, and he said that his real wish would be that they should build a children's hospital. Preferably in Brooklyn and then maybe in the heart of Crown Heights, where Chabad Lubavitch World Headquarters was. And his vision was that there should be a Jewish religious children's hospital that does everything according to Torah and Halacha and Jewish law. And that's what he wrote. But he said that he's giving the money to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe could do whatever he found the cause that would be necessary. And then he went back to Australia, and he waited to get a reply and find out what was done with the money. And the reply came actually in a 3-page letter. A 3-page letter to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe was acknowledging his wish that it should go for a children's hospital to be able to make children better. And the Rebbe started to describe that there's two types of ways of treating somebody. There's therapeutic medicine, which is that you treat somebody who is sick and you try to help them to get better. And there's also preventative medicine. And preventative medicine is that you try to prevent that the person should be healthy and not get sick in the first place. And the Rebbe went on to explain that, that actually preventative medicine is much, much better than therapeutic medicine. Therapeutic medicine is very, very costly. It also causes pain. It has many side effects. You're not sure always it's going to be successful. Preventative medicine actually is much easier, and it also makes the person better, and the person doesn't have to get sick, and there isn't the pain and all the negativities that come along with illness. And everyone went to explain that currently we are in a mode where we basically give therapeutic medicine. The former secretary of the United States Healthcare once said, "We don't have a healthcare system, we have a sick care system. We care for people once they're sick." And the Rebbe went on to explain that preventative medicine has to start at a very young age. Teaching children how to brush their teeth, to take care of themselves, proper diets. That preventative medicine is not something you do right before somebody's scared to get an illness, but it's something that you have. It's a lifestyle and has to start in preschool and even younger at a very, very young age. Now, over the last, now you could say already a couple of months, we've been dealing with the COVID-19, and the way the world actually dealt with a lot of what was going on to the cost of who knows how much money world over, and hitting our economy so hard, was by shutting down and by keeping people isolated. And that's actually a form of preventative medicine. And that's a form of wanting to make sure that people don't get sick. And actually, we're all eagerly awaiting, and ultimately this will come to an end completely when we have a vaccine. And a vaccine is also a form of preventative medicine. But I want to also talk about the current this new illness, if you want to say what's going on. Now, I just up front, we really have to acknowledge that when injustice is done, justice is demanded. Jewish way is, and this horrible death that happened in Minnesota is really, really horrible, and the family deserves justice, and justice should be done. And hopefully they'll be able to get to the bottom of it and bring justice. But what I'm talking about is what the reaction that happened afterwards. The racism that's come out, the looting, and so on. I mean, even if we take a person who is a racist and we put him into prison, prison is not going to cure racism. If we want to root out racism, we also need to start at a very young age. We need to even start as early as preschool. We need to teach kids to love and respect every human being. And that's a matter of education at the youngest age possible. We need to implant in every child the value of every human being, that every human being is created in the image of God. So how do we heal from the protest, the riot, the lawlessness, everything, the running wild in the streets? That's also something that prison can cure. And really, it's something that's very, very important to realize, that what's required here is really good schooling and intellectual development. I mean, if many of these people had the proper education, then be able to take it to the next level. Somebody made a good point. Libraries are not being looted. That's not what they're going after. You could see the intellectual level, if you want to say. So again, one of the cures for this is education. But education alone is not enough. We're just a couple of days away from Shavuos. Last weekend, we celebrated the holiday Shavuos. What happened on holiday Shavuos? God gave us the 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments included in them. And just to, dramatize the story very briefly, we know the story as we discussed. God came in the morning and nobody was there. With the blast of the shofar, he woke them up, for this great momentous occasion, brings them to the foot of Sinai. The one time in life God's going to come and speak in history, if you want to say, that God comes down and talks to man. And what does God tell them? He says, I am the Lord your God. And then he goes on to tell them, honor your mother, your father, don't murder, don't steal, don't lie. And, the people standing at the foot of Sinai rubbing their eyes and say, this is what we came for? Really? Did we not know before this that you're not supposed to steal? You're not supposed to lie? You're not supposed to murder? You have to honor your parents? I mean, you look at societies beforehand, they knew all about that. People were decent, upstanding human beings before God came on Mount Sinai to tell us these things. People honored their parents. We see that within our patriarchs. We even see the fact that in recognizing that there is one God, I'm the Lord your God, Abraham recognized that and taught it from then on to society. So what really happened at Sinai? What happened at Sinai, and the most important thing that happened there, was that God came to say that this world has a purpose. An expression in Chassidus and mysticism is Yesh bal habayis lebir zu. There is an owner to this home. Education alone is not enough. Information is not enough, I should say. Education is also very important. To teach children from a very young age that there is a right, there is a wrong. Not just if the police are going to catch you, if the police are not going to catch you, if the law is going to be enforced, law is not going to be enforced, but that there's a God in heaven that has an expectation from you, and that there will be an accounting. And therefore, if nobody else knows, God is watching, and God knows, and there's a purpose to this world, and every other person and human being is created within the image of God. You as well are created within the image of God and have such great potential. And that is an important education, and that has to start at a very young age. That is the true preventative medicine. And I know we're not going to be able to heal those people that are right now out in the street by telling them what we're telling them, but it's important for us to know how we educate the next generation. It is very, very important to educate the next generation. As the Mishnah says, ayin roah, there's an eye that sees, there's an ear that hears, and everything you do is written and accounted for and held account. And that's a very important message, bringing God into children's life, into society's life, teens, and so on. And to know, I think that is an important preventative, not just a therapeutic care, but that is a preventative care. I mean, as Mr. Goldhirsch said at the end of the time, he says that letter that the Rebbe sent him, actually, I didn't finish that story in the beginning, was the Rebbe said that the way better than creating a therapeutic hospital was to create an institution, giving children a good Jewish education from a very, very young age, because it's not just important to keep the body healthy, it's also important to keep the soul healthy. A person is put together of a body and soul, and both have to be kept healthy in a very strong way. And he says that letter where the Rebbe sent him, that he was thinking right away just a medical hospital, and the Rebbe's worried just about the body, but also the soul and the spirit, and that is so important, that is necessary, and that applies to us today's days as well. So let us hope that we can actually give that education to the next generation. And that brings us to this week's Torah portion. This week's Torah portion of Naso has within it what God tells the priests, the Kohanim, the priestly blessing that we're all famous with, that is till today the priestly blessing the Kohanim give us in the synagogue. Yivarechecha Hashem v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and protect you. Yara Hashem panav elecha v'chuneka. May God shine his countenance upon you and find favor in you. And may the Lord raise his countenance towards you and grant you peace. Today's days, that is something that we need. We need protection physically. We need God to shine his countenance upon us, that we can end this current situation. We should be able to come out of this stronger and healthier and with a shining countenance and a good smile on our faces. And we also need peace. Peace within our home, peace within our community, peace on the streets, peace for all the people of Israel. And let me just conclude. Let us hope that Osa Shalom B'Mromav, Hu Yasa Shalom Aleinu, he who makes peace on high, may he bring peace upon all of us down here in this world. V'nomar Amen, and let us all say Amen, and let us hope that quickly and speedily we should immediately be able to heal from this situation. The situation should turn around. We should be totally healed, and we should see true peace in physical sense, in the spiritual sense, and bring true peace to each and every one of us in our own personal lives, our Jewish communal life, Memphis, and the world over. And let us hope we'll be all very soon reunited together in a physical way and be able to celebrate that peace. Amen. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.